Hello everyone, this is Malachi with Garageband Tutorials, and this is the 2016 content that was not in the Udemy course. I'm not sure why I didn't put it in the Udemy course because this is some pretty important information. But we're going to go right into it. So basically what this is about, what we're going to be talking about is stuff that you need to have way before you even start mixing. There's going to be a lot of links in the description of this lecture, so I'm not going to be reading off long links and stuff like that. It's not necessary. What we're going to do pretty much is just discuss things in a more quicker manner. I'm not going to go too deep into any of this, but I am going to speak on everything. The first thing, of course, when you're doing music, recording music, you need a microphone. I personally use an iRig microphone. It's about 60 bucks. You can get it on Amazon. There are some other mics that you may want to use that are a bit higher quality than an iRig microphone. I'm not currently recording on an iRig microphone. I'm recording through my iPhone headphones. But when I do record like music, when I used to record music, or if I do voiceovers for cartoons and things like that, I'll just use an iRig microphone. Works great for me. It's great for podcasts, and it's only 60 bucks. Usually microphones could run all the way up to like 500, some $10,000. It's not necessary to get something that expensive when you're building a home studio. Another microphone I would recommend is called the Samson CO1U Condenser. It's a USB mic, $60 as well. And then we have the Shure SM57 Dynamic XLR. That's $100. That's a $100 mic. And the Shure is more for singing, vocal music, stuff like that. The other one, the Samson, is also for more singing, vocal, hip hop, stuff like that. For anything dealing with music, you want that type of mic. If you're doing voice acting or podcasting, like I said, iRig is okay, and I won't say okay. It's pretty decent, but you may want to opt in for more of a Blue Yeti condenser USB. That's only actually it's only $130. Probably not only, but that's actually a pretty good deal. You might be able to find a good used one for cheaper than that on Amazon. But if you want to get into voice acting and podcasting, I would go with a Blue Yeti condenser. The next thing that you want to have is a pop filter. Now you can make a cheap pop filter yourself by getting, a stocking cap, a circular object, and tying it onto a mic if you want to go the cheap route, or pantyhose or whatever. But you can get pretty cheap pop filters on Amazon, and they're usually around $17 or so. I think I got mine. I made my own, and then I went out and just bought one, and it only cost like $6. Really wasn't that much. Now, let me tell you the purpose of a pop filter. The purpose of a pop filter, it stops the p sound and the t sound and the s sound. So the B, T, and S sounds. It stops that. It makes your stuff sound professional. If you're going to record music, you absolutely need a pop filter. Absolutely. All right. Next thing you might want to have is a mic stand. With a mic stand, if you're recording at a desk, you can have a short mic stand. Those are pretty cheap on Amazon. Or if you're recording standing up, a lot of times when you're singing, you want your vocal energy to rise from the ground up. Then standing mic will be better for you. If you're recording with a band, then you're going to want to have a standing microphone. Also, headphones. You're going to want to have monitoring headphones. I'll have some links in the description in the course lecture, but I use a specific brand of monitoring headphones, so I'll have that in there. and I'll have a couple other things of different monitoring headphones. You don't want to use your iPhone headphones when you're mixing music. Please do not do that, because your music's going to sound like crap. Because you gotta be able to listen to all the frequencies. And one thing with iPhone headphones or any other headphones that you listen to music, the headphones are designed to make any type of music sound really good. It boosts certain frequencies so it sounds really good. With my monitoring headphones, you're going to only hear what it really sounds like, which is what you want to hear. Because that way you can hear all the subtle things, all the subtle changes to the frequencies. So top 4 things so far you need to get is a mic, a pop stopper, monitoring headphones, and a mic stand. Mic stand, if you're okay with holding the mic, that's fine. Only problem with holding the mic, you should have the mic at a certain distance from your mouth, so that way you don't get a lot of peaks and breaks and clicks if you're dBing your vocals too high. And you want to have it farther away enough that you don't have all the p, t in the breathing. Now, if you recording vocals and you're getting a lot of breathing stuff happening, man, that's a lot of post work you have to do. It's because you got to literally go into your vocals and start taking out all the breaths. You don't want to do that. So you want to have it far enough away that you don't have all the breaths when you're rapping or singing, but you want to have it close enough so that way it sounds more professional, and it will cancel out a lot of the reverb and echoes that you'll hear sometimes. I'm in a closet right now, so it's probably sounding really perfect, sounding great, whatever. I talk crazy, don't mind me. But yeah, so you want to make sure you have the right distance. So a mic stand will help you with controlling the distance. So now you'd only have to focus on keeping your body at the right distance while you're reciting your song, and keeping the angle of the mic in kind of an off angle depending on your pickup pattern. And that takes me to the next thing. The pickup pattern is how the mic is designed to pick up your vocals. Now you can have more of an omnipresent. That's probably not the technical word. All this is in the description, of course. But basically, just to simplify it, is that you can have a mic that picks up on everything around everything around you. You can have a mic that only picks up on the front. You can have a mic that only picks up on the side. If you're in a home studio and your studio is not set up properly for sound treatment, you don't want an omnipresent mic that's picking up on sound all the way around. It kind of sucks. You really want to have a mic that is only picking up on the sound coming towards the head of the mic. And you want to have the back of the mic facing like a window or glass or any part of the room that's really echoey. You want the back of the mic to be facing that. If I was to have my choice of pickup pattern mics, I would find a mic that can switch the pickup pattern. Because the great thing with that is that you could go to a studio and take your own mic and have it have the omnipresent pickup pattern. Or you can be at your home studio and switch it to a different pickup pattern. Yeah, that would be the best. That would be your best bet. And I do apologize not going over the specific terms for the pickup pattern. I'll put that in the description. I don't want to complicate things and go into all that. The pickup pattern is like a discussion within itself, and we're not going to go into that. It's not too important. Just know that there's different pickup patterns for mics, and know the direction of your pickup pattern, and that way you'll know how to position your mic. So if it's the pickup pattern is picking up on the sides, make sure you have that mic at a good angle so when you're not rapping head onto it. And then maybe you should rap head onto it if you're trying to do something that's real quiet and subtle. It's a lot of things you can do to play with the angle of the mic. But if you don't have the angle of the mic right, you'll notice that when you record your vocals, the vocals are going to peak. You're going to not see the peak and valleys. You're just going to see a flat land of of a wave file, and that's going to be a horrible journey of mixing it. It's actually, I always tell people when they send me stuff like that, don't, no, re-record this crap. This is not going to work, because I'm, there's no sense of trying to mix something that's not properly recorded. And that's why all these things that I'm listing is so crucial, because you have to record properly. You have to have the right setup, or you're going to have a mess, and it's not going to make any sense giving yourself extra work or giving the producer extra work to mix your music if you're not if you're not recording the music properly in the first place. And that's the same with voice acting, and that's the same with podcasting. You got to have your stuff recorded correctly. You got to have the right setup. And another thing that's important is the reverb and the sound treatment and how that works. So if you're in a closet and you're recording, you're going to have a really good professional sound, because there's not going to be a lot of reverb. See, sound can't bounce off anything that's like fabric, cloth. That's why I always tell voice actors, hey, throw a blanket over your head and start recording, because you're not going to have that reverb, that echo, that ambience, and you'll be able to have a professional sound to your voiceover. Same thing with singing, same thing with rapping. Closets are great. Going under a blanket is great. Having your feet on a blanket while you're recording is awesome. Getting some sound treatment things on the walls if you want to pay for that. If you don't want to do that, go the cheap route. Find a closet, find a car. Car may not be too good because they have a glass, and glass is going to echo sound. If you have windows in your studio, put some curtains up, and that way that will block the sound and recording and everything. So that's really important. The better you can have a grip on your ambience for the initial recording, the better you can actually start adding ambience to the mix and echo and reverb. If you have reverb already in your music that you recorded or in your vocals, please don't add any more. Just leave it out. Just leave that whole step out. If there's no way you can get around it, it's going to make the music sound unprofessional if you add reverb to something that already has reverb. Now, some people that ask me, they're like, what is a DAW? What's a DAW? And not a DAW baby, but a DAW, D-A-W. A DAW is a digital audio workstation. That's all it is. And GarageBand is a digital audio workstation. GarageBand is a DAW. Fruity Loops is a DAW. Pro Tools is a DAW. Reason's a DAW. All these different applications that are used to make music or mix music in track form is a DAW. That's all it is. It's a workstation used to mix digital audio music, or podcasts, or voiceovers. Any type of way of mixing audio is a DAW. You will need a Mac computer, of course, because GarageBand is not on Windows. Now, something I didn't bring up in Udemy, and a lot of people might have been having problems with this. Some people maybe not. It's called an audio interface. And audio interface, its mere purpose is to stop latency issues. So when you're recording your music in GarageBand or any other platform, it is best to record using this feature. You'll see here. All right, so basically what I did, if you're just listening and you're not actually seeing the screen, you'll notice I clicked this button here. It's called the import monitoring. When that is clicked, you can actually hear yourself singing or rapping while the music's playing. It's actually, they say that it's psychologically helpful to hear yourself while you're singing and rapping. You actually perform better. I don't know if it's true. That's what they say. Some people ask, like, who's they? Who says that? That's what researchers say. I don't know. I found it to be helpful for myself, but sometimes I found like I don't want to hear myself. But that being said, if you're using a USB microphone, then there could be latency issues because of how fast or how powerful your computer processor is. And in that situation, you're going to hear a feedback. Now, if you don't run into this, just forget everything I'm talking about with audio interface. You may not even need an audio interface. I could be wrong. But if you have an older computer or things like that and it's off and your vocals are not relaying into the GarageBand software on time, when you go back to listen to your recording, you're going to notice that you may sound slightly offbeat. And you may be like, wait a minute, I could have sworn I sung this right on time to the beat and now it's off. What the heck happened? And you may keep trying and keep doing several takes and several takes. I see this a lot. It's the only reason why I'm bringing this up in the new course. It is because it's not because you're not singing or rapping on time. It's because the mic is taking too long to get the audio transmission into the computer into GarageBand. It's an audio latency issue. And so to avoid this from happening, you have to get what's called a audio interface. And it's a separate box or board, or it's basically a separate device that you plug your microphone in. And you can't use a USB mic. You have to use an analog mic, which iRig happens to be analog. And iRig can be a audio jack, but it can double as an analog mic. But you want to make sure that whatever mic you pick, make sure that it has the ability to be analog and audio jack. USB mics are not bad. I don't want to, but if you're planning on getting an audio interface, it doesn't take USB. Maybe the new ones do. I don't know. I haven't been checking around, but I know from the old school, audio interfaces only usually take analog plugs. So I have some links to some good ones that you can get. They're around $100 to $150 to have an audio interface. I'm telling you, this is gonna, if you get it, it's gonna save you so much time on mixing and post mixing and stuff and trying to retime it, because that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to retime it, because if it's off beat, it's gonna sound bad. So you're gonna have to start moving. You're gonna have to start doing, like, I don't want to do it on this guy's project, but you're gonna have to start moving these around and keep listening to it. Okay, it's on beat now because of the audio feedback. Other than that, I think, what else we have here? Yeah, so the audio interface is good. They do have a plugin that you can install if you don't have an audio interface and you say, I'm gonna use a USB mic anyway. I don't care. Which is nothing wrong with that. Basically, you can download this thing called a ASIO Free for All. It's a plugin that you can download, and it kind of helps with the audio interface or the audio latency issue, but it's not 100%. If you really are serious about mixing music and recording music and having a home studio, just get an audio interface. I mean, seriously, it's, unless you don't run into this problem. So this is, my whole thing is this. If you're going to want to avoid spending a lot of money, like me, I always try to get what's necessary to get the job done. If I run into a problem, I'm like, man, this is really costing me more time, because time is money, then I will invest a little bit more money to execute the job that I'm trying to get done. That's the bottom line, pretty much. Now, mic placement, I talked a little bit about this, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. I feel like this needs that little section of time to be discussed, because I get a lot of music. People want me to mix their music. And by the way, I don't charge much for mixing music, because I do it for fun. I only charge $50 to mix music. That's it, per song. But with that being said, you want to make sure that, if you have to decide what room you want to mix your music in, try to mix music in a room that has a higher ceiling. If the room has a higher ceiling, your music's going to sound a lot better. You want to avoid windows. You want to avoid mirrors when recording. If you have hardwood floors, you want to make sure you put a rug underneath where you're recording. That's important. If you still have reverb, you want to make sure you first try going under a blanket or in a closet. Try to save some money. But you're like, I don't want to go in a blanket. I want my home studio in my office. So what you might want to do, if you don't want to do the blanket thing, you may have to put up audio treatment foam on your walls and in places where you're having the most echo. So you may have to go in different corners of the room and start saying, hey, hey, seeing where the echo is, and he said, okay, I know this area right here is really bad. And that goes back to the mic pickup pattern. If you have a mic that you can change through, like, change options for your pickup pattern, like it has 3 different pickup patterns, then you may want to use that pickup pattern that just has the pickup at the front of the mic. So that way it's not picking up anything behind the mic. And you may want to position the mic in that area of the room that is having the most problems, that's having the most echo and ambience. And that way you're getting a really good pickup. Again, I can't stress this enough. If you don't have an awesome home studio with good sound treatment, do not use an omnipresent mic. It's not going to sound good. There are some pros and cons with all of these pickup patterns just in general, but that, from my experience, an omnipresent mic will pick up other stuff. It depends on how close. If you get really close to the mic, it may not, but just my experience. This experiment, and that's the whole purpose why I'm saying as a recommendation, make sure you get a mic, if you can, that has multiple pickup patterns, because then you can experiment and maybe pull off some different types of recordings depending on the pickup pattern and how you angle it. Because you're going to find your sweet spot, and then you're going to start just rolling with that. What else? Yeah, you may want to have the mic off axis, especially if you have a direct pickup pattern or a pickup pattern that's on the sides of the mic. You want to avoid sound peaks, breathing, smacking, things like that, because when you're close, when you're singing or rapping close to the mic, you're going to pick up on everything, especially if it's a really good mic. So you want to make sure it's a little bit farther away, but you don't want to have it too far. I would recommend this. I would recommend about 8 to 12 inches. I think is awesome. Really good for picking up just enough of your vocals to make it sound professional, but not too much where it's like peaking, dBing, the volume is getting blasted, you're recording hot, things like that. You want to just make sure that it's at a good range. You may notice that if you have a very bassy sound to your mic, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to play around in EQ for a long time in the low frequency. Those of you that know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You'll record your vocals and sound real bassy, and it's kind of crazy. And so to get rid of that, all you gotta do is bring the mic farther away. You bring the mic farther away, that bassy sound's gonna leave out. You won't hear it anymore. It's a very easy fix. But yeah, closets are really good for recording. I do recordings in closets with my laptop. And if you can't do that, there is a thing called an ISO shield. It's a big black foam shield that goes behind the mic when you're recording. And that they work pretty good, but they could be about $60 to $130. And that's where an ISO or a omnipresent mic would be okay, because the shield is blocking it, and that's where the omnipresent type mics that pick up all around the mic are like the best mics you can have. And then when you go into a professional studio, those are only type of mics they use, is the omnipresent mics. They are a lot more fragile, so if you drop one, you might not be able to use it anymore. Whereas like the dynamic mics are more durable. You can drop them and they're good. I've dropped mine about 100 times. It's crazy. But yeah, I have the iRig mic. It's very durable. But yeah, it just depends. The more expensive the mic, the more delicate it could be, which is unusual for other products compared to other products. But that pretty much wraps things up. If you have any questions, don't forget to check the links out first before you ask any questions. I'm just joking. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in our Facebook group, Garageband Tutorials, or you can let me know in the actual course, and I'll be happy to answer them. But yeah, just to kind of wrap up this audio, video, whatnot, make sure you have a good mic. Make sure you have a mic stand. Make sure you have a pop filter. Make sure that you have a audio interface. It's really important. I would recommend it. Test it, but yeah, that's my recommendation on that one. Make sure you definitely have monitoring headphones. It would help to have monitoring speakers. I know that's more money, but especially with music that has a lot of bass, and you want to make sure it sounds good in the car. Because if you don't have monitoring speakers, what you're pretty much going to have to do is export the song, take it, play it in the car, go back in your car, listen to it in the car. Then you got to go all the way back to your studio and then listen to it again. Monitoring speakers will stop that rinse and repeat process. But I mean, eventually you're gonna have to listen to it in your car anyway. But the monitoring speakers that have like a really good bass and everything into it will help you say, okay, this is probably pretty close to what it's gonna sound like in the car. And just keep in mind that monitoring headphones, when you hear it, if it sounds really good and everything is really in harmony within your headphones, it's gonna sound really good with like your iPhone headphones or whatever headphones you use, normal headphones. Same thing with monitoring speakers. It's gonna sound pretty good. It's like, okay, this sounds really good. But when you play it in the car, you're gonna be like, oh my god, this sounds great. Oh wow. It's just gonna sound even better. And so having those two listening utensils, if we can call it that, it's gonna save you time and having to go back and forth, going back and forth, mixing, rinse and repeat. You know, it's just going to be helpful. It is more money, but you know, I got my monitoring headphones for like $60, and I noticed that when I'm looking in magazines and things like that, I can't remember what they were called. I don't have them with me right now, but I'll put the link in the description. But I see everyone wearing them and using them. So, and I went to one thing I did too, and this will help. Say you want to do a little bit more research, go to a music store. Go to your local music store and just walk in there and just start asking questions. And a lot of the headphones I fell in love with, a guy recommended it to me from a music store. And so that helped a lot. So, you know, this is just some things for you to, you know, chew and digest. Just dropping some gems here. And, but yeah, if you have any other additional questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. And then at this point, we're going to get started on mixing some music. Keep this in mind. One last thing. I know I keep going and going. I can talk your ear off here. But the project file in the course, which you're going to have to download, you're going to have to download a few things. You're going to have to download your plugins, your presets, and you're going to have to download the project file. The old content for Udemy is using a different song. Don't use that for when we're doing the work along with this project file. Two different, totally different things. So anything that is labeled 2016, it's going to be using this project file that's labeled the plug finished unmastered. I repeat, don't use the old Udemy content to mix this song or mix your song, because what I'm doing is I'm going to break it down and you're going to have to use the patches and the presets. It's very important. And we're going to mix this pretty fast. But when you start to mix your own music, it may not go as fast, especially the first time. And then after you've mixed your music for the first time, or you use the preset, you're like, wow, these presets so happen to actually make my music sound very professional. I don't really need to do much. Then you can kind of save it as your own preset, and you can make it whatever you want to call it or whatever for all your future music. And then when you do that, it makes the mixing process a lot faster, because now you're only really doing is tweaking instead of finding and discovering. So that's what this whole course is going to be about, is finding and discovering what works. And I'm just going to be giving you the skeleton, and you're going to be putting the meat on in the flesh. And because everybody's mixing abilities and skills are going to be a lot different depending on the vocals. And if you're mixing music for a living and mixing other people's music, one mix is not going to be the same as the next mix. There's going to be a few things that's going to be consistent, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be a lot different, because everyone sounds different, vocals sound different, melodies sound different. Some people might be in a different mood today, and tomorrow may be in another mood, and that reflects in their voice. So, well, yeah, I'm gonna shut up. We're gonna have some fun with this course, and yeah, let's get busy.